Hey everyone, it's me again, Joseph, your host, and welcome back to our channel and the Catechism for Kids series. Do you ever feel like the world is pulling you in a million different directions? One minute you're trying to do your homework, and the next, you're thinking about a video game. Or maybe you sit down to pray, and suddenly your mind is flooded with everything else you have to do today. It's so easy to get distracted, isn't it? Well, today we're going to talk about a saint who knew all about distractions, but he learned the secret to staying focused on what truly matters. His name is Saint Willibrord, and his story is going to inspire us to move from a life of distraction to a life of focus. He is also the patron saint of convulsions, epilepsy, epileptics, Luxembourg, Netherlands. Archdiocese of Utrecht, Netherlands. Are you living a life of focus or distraction? The world is constantly trying to take us off course, to distract us from what God is calling us to do. The only question is, will you let it? The saints dealt with distractions too. Take Saint Willibrord, for example. He didn't just deal with the normal distractions of daily life like we do. He also dealt with the huge distractions of a corrupt government trying to shut down Christianity entirely. So, who was this incredible saint? Willibrord was born way back in the year 658 in a kingdom called Northumberland, which is in modern-day England. His parents were very holy people, and when Willibrord was just 7 years old, they entrusted him to the care of the monks at the monastery of Ripon. Even his father, Wilgris, later became a hermit and founded his own monastery. From a very young age, Willibrord loved God and found joy in living a life dedicated to him. He made great progress in virtue and learning, but he wanted more. When he was 20, he felt a pull to go to Ireland, which was a great center of learning and holiness at the time. There, he spent 12 years studying the scriptures and growing in his relationship with God, alongside other holy men like Saint Egbert. Now, Saint Egbert had a dream. He longed to travel to places where people had never heard about Jesus, especially a land called Friesland, which is part of the Netherlands today. He wanted to share the gospel with them. But for various reasons, Egbert wasn't able to go himself. This didn't discourage him, though. Instead, he prayed even harder for the people of Friesland. This is where Willibrord's mission begins. At about 31 years old, filled with zeal and love for God, Willibrord felt that call in his own heart. He wanted to be the one to go to these dangerous, unknown lands. Saint Egbert saw the fire in Willibrord's eyes and knew that God had chosen him for this mission. So Willibrord and 11 other monks set out on an incredible adventure for Christ. They traveled to Friesland, and their work began. But Willibrord knew that to do this work properly, he needed the blessing of the Church. So, he traveled all the way to Rome to meet with Pope Sergius. The Pope was so impressed with Willibrord's holiness and courage that he gave him his full blessing, authority to preach, and even relics to place in the new churches they would build. With the Pope's blessing, Willibrord returned and got straight to work. He and his companions preached the gospel with amazing success. But here's where the big distractions come in. The local ruler of Friesland, King Radbod, was not a Christian and did not like what Willibrord was doing. At one point, Radbod took over the region, exiled Willibrord, and did something truly terrible. He set up altars to false gods inside the very churches Willibrord had built for Jesus. Imagine that. Imagine building something beautiful for God, only to see it completely desecrated and used for the opposite purpose. This would be a huge distraction, right? It would be so easy to get discouraged, angry, or to just give up. Many people would have said, well, I tried. It's impossible, but not Willibrord. He remained focused on his mission. He knew his purpose wasn't just to build churches, it was to bring people to God. When King Radbod eventually died, Willibrord returned. What do you think he did? He went into those churches, dismantled the altars to the false gods, and became even more dedicated to spreading the gospel of Jesus. He never, ever let the distractions of the world, even a hostile king, overtake his God-given mission. This story makes us ask an important question. What about you? Are you living a life of focus or distraction? What things have taken your life off course? Maybe it's not a king building false altars. Maybe it's spending too much time on your phone, worrying about what others think, or prioritizing things that don't really matter in the long run. What distractions are trying to lure you away from God? Living a focused life is the path to peace and true happiness. Distractions can be fun for a little while, but a life that just jumps from one distraction to another will eventually feel empty. Don't let that be your story. So how do we do it? How do we become more like Saint Willibrord? It requires two things: discipline and clarity of purpose. Discipline means making a choice to turn away from distractions. It might mean setting a timer for your screen time or creating a quiet space just for prayer. Clarity of purpose means knowing why you're doing it. Willibrord's purpose was clear: bring souls to Jesus. What is your purpose? Your purpose as a beloved child of God is to know, love, and serve Him. When you are clear about that, it becomes easier to say no to the things that get in the way. Willibrord's work continued to grow. He founded monasteries, like the one at Echternach, and built churches. He even baptized a baby who would one day become the famous King Pepin the Short. He was so respected that he was eventually made the Archbishop of the Frisons. He was fearless. He even traveled to Denmark and an island called Fasigtland, which was considered sacred to a pagan god. The people there believed it was a terrible crime to harm any living thing on the island, or to even draw water from its spring without being completely silent. To show them that their idol had no power, what did Willibrord do? He baptized 3 people in the spring, speaking the words out loud, and his companions ate animals from the island. The people were shocked, expecting them to drop dead. When nothing happened, they were confused. Willibrord showed them that the only one with true power is the living God. Even into his old age, Saint Willibrord never stopped. A friend of his, the great writer Alcuin, described him as being unwearied in preaching in all apostolic functions, amidst which he was careful to nourish the interior life of his soul by assiduous prayer, singing of psalms, watching and fasting. Do you see the secret? His outward focus came from his inward focus. He was always connected to God through prayer. That's how he had the strength to overcome every distraction. He kept his eyes on Jesus, and when Jesus is your focus, everything else falls into place. So, the next time you feel distracted, whether it's during prayer, while doing your schoolwork, or just trying to be a good friend, remember Saint Willibrord. Ask him to pray for you. Ask him for the grace to have discipline and a clear purpose. Turn away from the noise and focus on the one thing that matters most: your relationship with Jesus. That is the path to a joyful, meaningful, and truly fulfilling life. Thank you so much for joining us today to learn about this amazing missionary saint. I hope his story encourages you to fight against distractions and stay focused on God. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next story. You can also consider becoming a member of our channel or give a one-time donation through Super Thanks to support our ministry. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and healthy as usual. See you next time, and God bless you always.